Hey everyone! Today I am standing next to Losing June's David Nicholson.
What's up, bud?
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, a lot of fans actually saw your music and they were just wondering, where did you get the idea of naming the album of When the Love Fades?
The whole album kind of, each song individually is about relationship and it's about struggles of love and the relationship aspect. So it just kind of something that fit the theme of the album and the songs itself.
Was it your past relationship with someone or just...
No, it really nothing. It was just random. How I write melodically, I kind of start with the music and the ideas of the melody kind of go, and then lyrically I write out of that melody. And so I kind of start from the beginning of the song and write through it. So it kind of writes itself. It's kind of a weird way to write it. I'm trying to get out of that style of writing because sometimes you tend to write the same style of songs. But this album I was doing that on purpose, just kind of writing it. It was an album that, the first one I've written since, I don't know, probably 12 years, so I kind of think it that way.
Alright, so where does the name Losing June come from?
You know, I struggled figuring out something I wanted to do that was different other than using my name. I think it's kind of cliche, and there's too many David Nicholsons. If you Google the name, you find a bunch. Even on iTunes, you find a bunch. So I struggled finding something that nobody had used, and kind of just stumbled upon it. I mean, it just absolutely means nothing, and I just made it up. It was just a coincidence, I guess. Has
anyone heard the album besides you?
Yeah, a few people. I've sent it out. I try to push a lot of the stuff for TV and film. There's a bunch of sites, Music X-Rays one, Music Gorilla's another that I've signed up for. So you just send it out, and you know, you get feedback from, you know, industry professionals looking for stuff. I haven't landed anything. I'm under contract for a couple of songs for licensing, but nothing's been placed. But it's only been a month, so it just takes time. There's too many. I mean, the competition in music is unbelievable, as you can imagine.
Yeah. How long did the project take?
We recorded a song actually before we even did this album called Like a Fool, which is probably one of my favorite, and I'm going to release it as a single. But the album itself started in late November, so it took about 6 months. About 6 months from start to finish.
Oh wow. You mentioned you were working with John Stevenson?
Yep, John Stevens, yes.
John Stevens? He's from New York, right?
Nope. He's in a band called New York City Queens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's from Kingwood, actually. He also is the lead engineer at Studio 713. Super good. He basically played everything else on the album: guitar, drums, bass. So he and I just kind of collaborated, and that's kind of why I wanted to go with a kind of a band name and not just my name. It's because we kind of wrote it together. I wrote the album as we recorded it.
How was it working with him?
Oh, it was unbelievable. He's really good. Anybody in Houston that is working on an album needs to talk to him.
How did you guys like meet though? That's what
just randomly. I went through, just searched did a lot of research on a lot of different studios, and they had a video on their website of his band New York City Queens, and I didn't at the time know that he was the lead engineer there. I just said, man, the video was really good, the album was really good, and so just, but you know, he was actually the engineer as well. So I met with him that first day I went in, and we just started working on some stuff. So we've recorded these 6 plus 2 other ones.
So you say you wrote the album on acoustic guitar first?
Yeah, everything but Ghost. Ghost, the only one I didn't.
Ghost?
Yeah.
Who helped you?
Well, I wrote that one on the keyboard you're sitting on. Just wrote it basically just as simple as possible, and just went in. And actually, that was the only song that John didn't produce all the music for. 2 guys in Nashville helped me with that, so I sent them just basically a click track with the piano progression, and they just kind of just built it from there. And then John added some stuff towards the end of the song that really made it pop. But it's probably one of my favorite songs.
So like, what instruments can you tell me like John played on the album?
Guitar. He played acoustic on a couple. I played acoustic on probably 4 of the 6, and he played guitar, bass, and drums.
What equipment did you guys use when recording? Like, what was the guitars, the amps, or do you remember that, or like?
He had a Fender Telecaster. I know that he played a bunch of the songs with, but we went directly into his pedal board. So So we went through Pro Tools and did some different things. So we didn't go through amps on guitars. I don't remember what bass amp he used, and I don't know what kit he used with drums, but he has all the house kit at the studio and all the house equipment we use.
Alright, now can you talk about each track individually and like what's the meaning behind it?
Well, most of them really don't have a specific meaning. I just didn't, I guess I subconsciously wrote this album more than consciously. I didn't try to have a meaning for all these songs. You know, Die For You was one of the first ones I wrote, and I just kind of had the hook. I come up in songs with different parts. I either write it kind of from the hook and then write it out, and Die For You was that way. I just like that kind of hook, Die For You. And it kind of wrote itself from the verse standpoint after I had the hook.
Alright, what about, say, how did John kind of help you find the rhythm in each song?
We basically just kind of had to scratch tracked it out. I just kind of went stupid, but to do a scratch track, and he kind of just built it from there, basically out of the tempo and the kind of the song, because I laid kind of a crappy vocal to begin with, and so we had to really go back in, and I had to really fix and finish things because I was writing this as we were recording it. So I'd go in days to cut vocals or cut the scratch track, and I hadn't written the second verse of the bridge. So we just kind of wrote it as we went. So it kind of just developed. So that's why I was saying that it doesn't have a specific meaning.
Alright. Now the album has a lot of different genres in it. You have rock, you have pop, and then you have country.
Yeah.
What inspired you to like mix it all together?
Well, it's kind of just the style I write. I like everything. I grew up kind of listened to a lot of mainstream music, but you know, from the Eagles to Bad Company to Michael Jackson and Madonna. You know, and now I'm listening to a lot of One Republic and Maroon 5, but I also listen to some other things. You know, I like a lot of rap. I liked Biggie and Tupac were huge in my generation as well. But you know, so there's so many different styles of music that I like. So I just kind of write, and whatever the melody and whatever kind of the music, let it take its shape. I try not to dictate what I want it to sound like. When I went in, I didn't say, John, I want it to sound like this. I basically said, this is this song. Let's figure out something cool. So he had a lot of his influences and personality in this album as well.
Alright, now what's your favorite song on the album? Or it's not an album, it's an EP.
Well,
right?
it's an EP, yeah. It's just 6 songs. The other one, Like a Fool, ended up not putting it on there, and we also had scratch tracked another 4 songs that we just felt like didn't fit. That's why when I named it When the Love Fades, it's all about the darker side of relationships, I guess. But I don't know which one was my favorite song either. I can tell you. I like them all, and they're so different.
Now, how did you... I feel like you answered this question, but how did you get all the music together? Like, you told me that you recruited some people to go to the studio and play for you. How did you get all of them in one room?
Well, I didn't. John basically played all the tracks on everything but Ghost. The 2 guys, they were in LA at the time, but they just moved to Nashville, but they basically just tracked the same thing. It was like in a week. They just knocked it out, basically off a scratch track that I'd sent them.
Oh, alright. Now, the album cover is really unique to me. I looked at it and I was like, wow, it's really pretty. It has the rose and it's kind of like slanted. Where did you get the idea?
It's kind of I don't know, I just found this perfect picture that kind of described When the Love Fades. I did tinker of an album name, When the Love Dies, but it just didn't fit as well as Fades. I actually had paid someone to do a graphic previously that just didn't, it just didn't capture me. So I did a lot of research and found something, so I did that cover myself.
Oh, you did it yourself?
Yeah.
What program did you use to?
Just Photoshop.
Photoshop, wow. Alright. When will Losing June going or playing shows?
Released. Or when am I going to play shows, or when am I going to release the album? Because I haven't released the album yet either. I'm going to release it probably in the next few weeks, probably towards the end of July.
Oh, really? Oh, are you excited about like releasing
it? I mean, well, I'm just kind of putting it out. I mean, now I just did it on the website I did first, pushing for TV and film, like I said, but I haven't just because we did a lot of, I had to finish mastering everything. making it perfect. So now I'll dump it on iTunes pretty soon.
On iTunes, oh, yeah, that's good. What about Spotify? Any of
Well,
those?
yeah, I'll go through either CD Baby or TuneCore. I don't know which one, but they're both pretty good. It just depends on what specials. But they also have, you know, there's music license companies that partner with some of them. Like CD Baby has one that's a partner that they will pitch your music in a way. You can join them only through CD Baby. But you know, you also mentioned touring. Nothing yet. I'm working with one guy. We're working on some acoustic stuff, so we're probably playing some acoustic shows soon. But I'm still trying to look for pieces to put a full band together. It's kind of hard.
It is. I mean,
oh yeah, it's hard finding, you know, the right people that like your style of music. And I'm writing a lot of music that's a little bit different. You know, there's so much punk and so much rock compared to more mainstream. There's not a lot of people that write like the mainstream love songs. It's a lot of heavy metal, a lot of rock.
Oh wow. What was your first instrument growing up?
Piano. My mom had and taught piano lessons, so an upright piano. But I never learned. She never taught me, and I never really asked. But I just kind of play by ear and just kind of make it up.
What about growing up? Like, what artist influenced you heavily to start writing the music you do right now?
Probably when I started writing was probably when Matchbox 20 was probably at their height. Goo Goo Dolls, Coldplay, those artists I think inspired me the most of how I write. It kind of fits the style that I sing as well.
What else do you do besides writing music? Like, say for example, you know, one day you're not writing music, what do you do for free time?
Well, I have a day job. I'm an estimator for an engineering firm. So I basically price out projects to see how much they're going to cost. I'm also married, I have 2 kids, so the moment I walk in the door, they want to ride their bikes, they want to go to the pool. So I've got, you know, it's always a full day's worth of stuff to do and so many different things. So music kind of just fits in each individual little place. I basically wrote this album, and it's funny. The majority of it and the ideas were written while they were in the bathtub each night. So I would stand in the bathroom and kind of play. So they know every word to every song. If I mess up, they'll tell me immediately that I messed up. They can play drum parts to it, keyboard parts, so they've learned a lot from it too. So I kind of wrote it with them, if that makes any sense.
Oh wow. If I usually ask this to some artists on the website, but if you could, what artist would you want to go on a tour with?
That's touring right now would probably be One Republic. Would be really awesome. But I saw them in concert. They were really good. 21 Pilots.
21 Pilots.
Yeah,
They're good.
I love their stuff. X Ambassadors. I don't know if you've heard them. They're kind of new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of them. There's a lot, man. You know, there's a lot of good bands that I just haven't heard. You know, there's so much stuff out there, and I don't really listen to a lot of stuff. That's why every once in a while I just pick up and hear songs. You know, Shazam everything because that's where I hear it from TV and commercials. But I try not to listen to too much other music that influences me because I just want to write my own stuff.
Do you sometimes, because some artists when they write their first record or their EP, for their first record, they start putting some of the songs from the EP into the record. When you release your first record, will some of the music on this EP be on there?
I hope so. I think I wrote some really good songs. I think that they can be better. Not necessarily just the music aspect, because I think the music is really, really good, but I think lyrically and melodically I could do better on the album. I could write them better and I could sing them better. I think there was days that I just didn't sing very well, and not being in the studio for a while, it just takes repetition to get really good and comfortable. And it's really hard when you just go in cold and you just say, one day I'm going to just show up and just sing. And that's kind of what I did. Even though I wrote it here and practiced, it's totally different than when you walk in that first day. So the songs that I did first don't sound as good as the songs that I did at the last. So that you can tell the difference too in some of the songs.
Now, I was just wondering, when you went first into the studio, how was the first day there? Like,
it was awesome. You're always nervous because you want it to be perfect. But no, I mean, the feel and the atmosphere is really, really good. It's just the pressure that you put on yourself. Some people don't. Some people can handle that pressure. Some people can feed off of it and just really excel. And some people, it really hurts and it takes them a long time. I don't think it hurt me, but I think that it affected me enough that I wasn't perfect and I'm still working to get better.
Now, some artists choose to do click track, some artists don't choose to do click track. Was all your music on click track?
Yes, John required it. Me, I personally don't write on a click track, and it's hard. That's why John played a lot on the album, is because I'm not as good and as robotic on a click track as some people are. I like to play live, and I think I play different and I sing different when you can just play and you're free and you're not just so a metronome. But yes, everything was off of the click. Everybody wants to hear it off of click. Everybody wants this perfect song. They want it to be.
So you're just, I don't care. I want to be the way I want to be. It's kind of like play live.
No, it still was, everything was on a click, even though I don't play with a click and I don't write with a click, if that makes any sense. Not that I'm against it, I just don't do it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's understandable. Sometimes it can get hectic, so.
Yeah.
But what inspired you to start singing?
I've been singing kind of all my life. I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, to the Bible Belt, so church singer as a kid, our church choir, the kids choir. I don't know, I always sang, so I just continued.
Will John be making an appearance when you play live?
I don't know, man, he is so busy. He's, in New York City, Queens, and he also has a side project called Promenade, which is EDM. I mean, we've talked about, but really writing is what he and I want to sit down and do. I think that's where we both can get better, is just continue to write and write and write. But you never know. I mean, years down the road, maybe, who knows? But right now, he's got his own stuff. We just want to try to figure out some time we can sit down and write.
What would you describe your album like? What is the theme of the album? You talked about like being like the dark side of like love, or just like
love in a relationship. Like, yeah, the kind of the title explains it, when the love fades, and you go through this emotional roller coaster in relationships no matter what, but there's always a time that it succeeds or it doesn't, and the album kind of feeds on both sides of that. It's not all just, oh my God, my life's over, and I wasn't living through that at the time either. It's just what I wrote and how I wrote the album, and it was just kind of, I guess when I started back playing, writing, and singing, I started off on that side of things, I guess.
Oh wow. Well, what would you want to tell fans that are new to your music?
That I hope they like it. That I hope that they enjoy it enough to come back, because I think I'm still writing some better stuff. I've got probably a half a dozen new songs that I'm really starting to work on. That some are like this and some are completely different. I didn't write anything political on this album, obviously, but everybody has their political views, so everybody's going to end up writing some of those political songs. But I think I'm writing some more happier songs, and it's not going to be so dark. There was a lot of dark songs, not dark, but there's a lot of more of the sadder side of relationships and sadder side of love than the happy side. Yeah. So I think I'm writing some different stuff. So
I find it cool that you kind of, most people look at the happy side of love, and then just for an artist kind of like you, just kind of like, oh wait, I want to see that. I want to explore the other side. I think that's pretty unique. So.
Well, I think anybody that's, as they get older, realizes that there's more of the darker side of relationships than the happier side, because until you get to the marriage stage, and it's not always happy on that one either, but that's why you're not married and you're younger and you don't understand relationships, so you kind of go through this ebb and flow where it's happy and it's sad, and you're in love and you hate that person, and then the next thing you know, you love someone else, and you're always puppy love. It's just puppy love. And so a lot of that was kind of feeding off of that old thought process of puppy love.
What do you usually rehearse with your band?
Francisco's is downtown. It's this big old warehouse, nothing but music, so it's 4 stories. And you go in there and you just hear all types of music throughout the halls, and you just have your own rehearsal, which is a little bit bigger than this room, but just go up there and jam out. I share it with another band.
Oh, really? Yeah. What would you, like, in Francisco's, what would you say is the atmosphere in there?
I don't know, once you kind of get through the gray hospital-like halls and this old warehouse, I mean, you just get in your studio and you just jam out. I mean, I guess everybody decorates their own studios differently, so I don't know about anybody else's experience, but you're just kind of focused on what you're doing. You're you're working on songs that you're either writing or you're working on songs that you're trying to perform. And I'm working with this guy that we're looking to do some acoustic shows to start off with, because how I write and these songs, stripping away the rock aspect and the electric guitar aspect, there really are really good acoustic, sentimental songs that I think that really come through acoustically, and I think that it would be a really good show. So we're working on some stuff like that.
So you're pretty excited about playing live and just finally.
Yeah, I'm looking for probably sometime in the fall. Start playing some shows.
All right. Well, I mean we're done. So.
Perfect, man.
Sweet.
That was awesome.